some unfortunate news. Like I said, breaking news right before we came on. It is confirmed that rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy of the Minnesota Vikings is undergoing the full-scale meniscus repair. I'm not a doctor, but he's having the bigger surgery, and his season's done after, 35 plays in week 1 against the Las Vegas Raiders, which, I mean, it's a bummer regardless, Nate, but there was so much to be excited about from that one glimpse that we got of him in that first preseason game.
Yeah, he had more maturity to his game, even if he had a limited sample size at Michigan. And I think that's why a lot of maybe pundits, draft people, and people in the league were higher on him, and that he was a little bit more polished than he showed. But he just needs reps because that limited sample size, his age, and all that. And you could see why people were high on him. And even me in the draft process, he grew on me. Even if I had a late first, early second round grade on him, I understood why people became fans. And you got to see that a little bit in that first game. And I think that's why it's a little, not a little, it's a lot of disappointing. Even if I'm a fan of Darnold, I'm excited to see what he can do in that offense. Seeing what McCarthy could do made it more fun than what I thought it was going to be. And I think a lot of people did, that it was going to take some time before we saw that polish, saw that understanding of an NFL offense. And he took right to it. And you could see the pocket movement. You could see the willingness to throw over the middle. You could see some understanding of when to push the ball, and actually to have the arm to push the ball. Still needed to speed up some things, but that's what stinks, is the stuff that he could improve upon is stuff that needs reps. And now he doesn't get those reps. Even if he gets the mental side, kind of reps, kind of the shadow reps that he will this season. I think he needed stuff that was more physical and just has to do. And that's really the disappointing part, is that his baseline was already a little higher, or flashed a little bit higher than I think a lot of people assumed. So yeah, it really stinks in Minnesota and McCarthy, really, his development.
I will include myself on that list. I mean, we saw so little of him in college. I'm not going to say I didn't believe in him, but I wanted to see it. And then, like in this day and age, you see so much of things for the first time on social media, and like you're looking at Twitter and you're like, oh, there it is. He throws an ugly pick like early in his game. Like it's going to be rough for JJ. And then like an hour later, I checked back in and I was like, oh, holy shit. No, he looks like some of the stuff he's willing to try, some of the throws he's making, like it looked far and away better than what I was anticipating in August of his rookie year. So it's, I mean, like I said, it's sad regardless, but it's especially sad because I do think he was a lot further along than at least I gave him credit for.
Yeah, and studying him, if I had a little bit more, I don't want to say panache, but I'm trying to think of a better term than balls. But if I had a little bit more during my draft process, I would have had McCarthy a little higher and Jane Daniels a little lower, just because of what McCarthy's game was and what Daniels' game was, and their age and what they had to play in college. Because McCarthy did a lot of little things right. And that's, if you look at games like against Penn State, where he threw the ball like 10 times, he's doing the little things. He's handling the offense. He's playing quarterback, which is, checking into a play on the road while you're backed up and making sure everyone's communicated, like getting the communication correctly. Stuff that if you watch quarterbacks in the NFL do, that's expected out of them. To do that at a young age on the road, and coaches expected him to execute it. Those were the little things that you're like, oh, okay. And of course, he had a stronger arm than you expect. He still has to hitch up into it, which is also like maybe why I think his ceiling maybe is not as high as maybe other guys in this class were. But I do think it's maybe a higher ceiling than I expected. Like I was like, oh, kind of Kirk Cousin-ish. But it's like, man, maybe he's Kirk plus, maybe he's Kirk with a little bit more juice. And that's what's exciting about that first game, was like, oh, there it was. Like wow, he already translated that. That's the like disappointing part about this. It wasn't like just a total hodgepodge of like, oh wow, there's one good throw and 15 bad ones. Like it was a dozen solid to good snaps.
One more heartbreak in a long line of them for Vikings fans. We'll be eagerly awaiting JJ's return in 2025. I guess the flip side of this, we got a whole thing prepped about what we're looking forward to seeing in week 2 of the preseason. I mean, does Sam Darnold jump that much higher on everybody's list because of this? Which, I mean, JJ's obviously going to get the headlines because he's the top 10 pick, but Sam Darnold had some really impressive moments in that game against the Raiders as well.
I mean, for me, yeah, because I'm also like a sicko. But yeah, I'm a junkie for Sam Darnold. I chase that dragon of those flashes. But that's what I think. This is the most cohesive ecosystem, most complete ecosystem that Sam Darnold's been placed in, not including last year with the 49ers, where he was a backup and he started the one game at the end of the season, which he had some moments in that game as well. But that's kind of the key word with Darnold. It's moments. It's it's never been what highs he can reach. It's just consistency. I don't think he's ever been in a place where he's been able to mold or work on that consistency, like because of just everything falling apart around him, and maybe just a lack of higher end players. He's had guys like DJ Moore, he had CMC, but that offense wasn't CMC as we see at 49ers. It was just the same choice route over and over. Darnold could do it, but it's not like the most creative offense. He started at the end of his time in Carolina, and you saw, hey, all right, he's putting it together a little bit. Not the hardest asks, but he's executing. And you see, he's also what I'm really excited to see in this Vikings offense is use of his athleticism. Him and McCarthy, are good athletes. Darnold's a little bigger, but I'm excited to see how Kevin O'Connell uses that. Not only just play action stuff, but QB run game, like especially near the red zone. Like that's where Darnold's long been a good player at. Like he's a pretty good scrambler and he's a pretty good quarterback design runner. It's just that you kind of want to channel it. He's a little bit of a Cyclops without the visor. And so like that's kind of where I'm going with Sam Darnold. It's like just give him it doesn't even have to be a visor, just an eye, like one eye patch. And so we can just kind of like narrow it down. And I think Kevin O'Connell, this solid offensive line, I wouldn't say good, but solid, best that he's ever played with in New York or Carolina. These weapons, you could just say Justin Jefferson, but he's as Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. I think the run game's gonna be much better and more explosive because of Aaron Jones and or Tyler Chandler. When Jones inevitably misses time, this is the best system for him. I'm not saying top 5 guy, he's going to win MVP, but an average-ish plus starter that can get hot, that's more than enough for what this Vikings team is at right now. So I'm pretty excited to see it. Like that, it's just from a neutral fan, like I'm really excited to just see what happens. Like it's one of the more interesting kind of subplots of this NFL season.
An X-Men analogy as a Wolverine movie is in theaters is so well done by you. Yeah, I mean, I think NFL fans, casual viewers have been waiting for this for at least 2 or 3 years. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of remarkable that a guy drafted in the top 5 who flamed out in 2 other spots, whether it was his fault or not, is getting a big time opportunity in year 7 of his career. Obviously,
chase the dragon.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm with you. If it's going to happen for Sam Darnold, it's going to be in this offense with this much talent around him. We will see how it goes. It makes that preseason outing a little bit more intriguing.